Hello everybody, I'm JackieKCooper, and my entertainment rundown for the day is a review of the film The Irishman. Now this is a movie that is currently on Netflix. It played in movie theaters to qualify for awards. I guess it had to do that to qualify for awards, but it had like a 2 to 3 week showing at some major theaters around the country in the bigger cities. But now it's on Netflix, and you can sit down and you can watch this 3.5 hour movie. That is one long time. I've talked to people who said, yeah, I've been watching, I'll watch like 20 minutes and then I'll go back and watch 30 minutes and then go back and watch 20 more minutes and then another 30 minutes and then finally go back and end it up. Unless it is something that is just amazing, most stories don't require, 3.5 hours to get their story told. And this is one about the mob. This is going to tell you the story of Jimmy Hoffa, who's played by Al Pacino, and about a guy who starts out as a trucker, played by Robert De Niro, and then he gets more and more involved with the truckers union, and then gets involved with the mob, and then it goes over several decades and shows how he becomes like a hitman. They use the code word, I paint houses. That means I make hits. You can hire me to eliminate somebody, or you can arrange that I will go out and kill somebody on contract for you, or whatever. So from that standpoint, it should be exciting because it shows these hits that occur on just about everybody in the movie. Or if they don't actually show how that person died, they'll just put a little note up by their name saying, in 1980 was shot twice in the head and died, blah, 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 blah. So you get a current, update on the people, who are currently in the story or who are going to be written out of the story in the future because of their deaths. But the main central focus is when Robert De Niro's character gets into the mob. He's brought in by a union, mob boss played by Joe Pesci. And then also they are involved with Jimmy Hoffa, played by Al Pacino. And it's the story basically of how, Jimmy Hoffa, was head of his union and then fell in disfavor and then tried to come back, went to prison, came back out, and then eventually, disappeared. Now this movie will presume to tell you what happened to Hoffa. I think it's it's just supposition on somebody's part because they've never found Jimmy Hoffa's body and what really happened to him. But the story just goes through all these actions of killings, etc., etc., etc. But there's no character development. I never felt like I got to really know anything about these families. It shows them with some family life, but the women in this movie are just there, as the wife, as the daughter, etc. But you never get any real story about relationships or that type of thing. They do use some new process, and I'm not going to even attempt to explain to you, but where they can de-age people's features. So when you first see, Robert De Niro's character in his younger years, he looks very much younger. And then he ages over the course. Same thing with Al Pacino, same thing with Joe Pesci. How they do that, I don't know. I was watching a portion of a background thing, and it said, that they had this thing that could make the face and all look, but they had to have the movements of younger people. So even though their body and face looked younger, they still had to match it with their movements and actions. So that would take some work, I guess. I thought, going into this, I'd heard really rave reviews about it, but I just thought it was tedious. It was a Godfather wannabe that wasn't. It never, ever hit that mark, but it really tried to. It's directed by Martin Scorsese, who's made some great movies in the past. He's a talented, talented director. The recreation of the, locales is great. The acting is good. It's just the story that becomes bogged down. The movie is rated R for profanity and violence. I scored this movie 5 out of 10. I mean, even with the great acting and the look of the film, etc., The storyline just didn't do it for me. I couldn't give it anything more than a 5. So some people may say, well, people are talking about it's a movie of the year. Well, it's not my movie of the year. It's not in my top 10 movies of the year. It's way down there. Just didn't do it. Sorry, that's my opinion. You can agree or disagree with me. But reach down there, hit that subscriber button. We want you here when I either make you agree or disagree with some movie reviews in the future. But for today, my entertainment rundown has been a review of the film The Irishman.